All right, I'll say, how are you all this evening of your time as you create time to exist? Allow us to begin this interaction this evening of your time with the entitlement Yardsticks. We use this nomenclature, this terminology to talk about relativity in a sense. Relativity in perspective, in point of view. To simply remind you once again, in yet another way, that each and every individual is his or her own reality. And whatever measuring rods, whatever yardsticks you may use to measure the reality you believe to be true, are not applicable to use to measure the reality that someone else believes is true for its validity. The yardsticks you create in your reality are valid for your reality and will very accurately measure the ideas going on in your reality, in your belief structure. But they cannot be used to measure the validity in someone else's reality because they have a different set of yardsticks and they are very often quite of different lengths. Many of you are familiar with what your physicists refer to as the time dilation effect. Are some of you familiar with this idea? The idea simply is that as you move faster and faster in your physical universe, attaining a great deal of the percentage of the speed of light, the faster you go, the more time slows down, apparently from your point of view. That is, while you are remaining in your physical dimension. The idea of the hyperspace travel we talk about, the instantaneous teleportation, is quite another thing and does not apply to this idea. But while you remain in your physical universe, if you go very fast, very close to what you call the speed of light, you will find that time will slow down for the individual doing the traveling. Now, all things being relative, as many of you understand, to the individual doing the traveling, it will seem as if everything is moving at the same rate of time. To them it will seem that everyone else has sped up very rapidly, and that they are still going about their business doing the same things they always do at the rate that they are comfortable with. Not only in that sense does time slow down, but all objects will in a sense shorten in the direction that they are traveling. So very literally, if you have a yardstick, let us say, on your hypothetical spacecraft, and you are moving in a particular direction at a great percentage of the speed of light, to an individual standing still, relatively speaking, your yardstick on the ship, by the time you are a good fraction of the speed of light, will actually only be as long as, let us say, approximately 3 inches. You will still think it is a yard long. 3 of your feet, not 3 of your inches. And of course, everything you measure in the ship will still appear to be its normal size because everything has shrunk accordingly. So it has all stayed in one particular coherent system, and you cannot tell the difference. This is analogous to the idea we are talking about because every single individual vibrates at a slightly different rate of energy and has a different perspective about what is true and real for them. Yes, you have, as we have discussed, obviously a collective agreed upon reality that you share general ideas and sometimes some very specific ideas within. But nonetheless, being an individual by definition will allow you to always recognize that the yardstick you use to measure things with, and we are speaking both literally and philosophically, will not be exactly, precisely the same length as someone else's. And they will measure things in a slightly different way. To each of you, the equations will seem to come out correctly. You will measure 3 feet, they will measure 3 feet, but that 3 feet is relative. And if you compare them, they may be a different 3 feet. But you can at least agree enough to get the job done. Recognize, simply, that what we share with you is our yardstick. The measurement by which we decide what works for us in our civilization. We share these ideas in a general way with you. But in no way, shape, or form do we ever mean to imply that your yardstick, your measurements, your ideas, your points of view are not equally valid and in a sense not more important for you to pay attention to because they are the yardsticks that measure the reality you have decided is real. So remember, even when we describe and define down to the last inch, the last millimeter, our yardstick, you may find similar marks on yours, but that is your version of ours, and is never meant to be that you must do things in exactly the way we do them. Being an individual, you will always do something in your own way, slightly uniquely or greatly uniquely, but it will always be slightly different from the way anyone else does it. That is to be expected, and that is to be cherished. For it is the variance, it is the different points of view, it is the relativity which allows there to be an ongoing discovery of new attitudes, new perspectives, new points of view in life. That something will always be seen slightly differently through another pair of eyes will add to the enrichment of all the different ways that creation has of manifesting itself to be. You all follow along? Oh, thank you very much. Pamela. Mice, especially little mice, represent generally the idea of information as they may scurry in between the walls of your structures, delivering information to and fro within some of those portions that many of you consider to be your unconscious streams of communication within the self, but also they are simply little reminders who appear where they need to simply be a symbol, if you wish, an omen, a representative mirror of some of the gentle little reminders to look in certain places, to awaken little sleeping ideas that will now pop forth and be in your conscious awareness. They are that which startles you to life in that sense and allows you to look at a corner of yourself that may have been so small in your imagination that it may have been previously overlooked, but contains every bit of validity that every other portion contains. They are little reminders. They are the little memos that you write to yourself. Thank you very much. At this timing, allow us to extend to you once again our heartfelt appreciation in allowing us to interact with you. And in exchange for this loving gift, I ask you now, how may I serve you?
Hello.
And to you.
Bashar, I have been told that I am being contacted.
By whom?
That's what I want to know.
You have been told by whom?
By Merlin.
All right. Do you feel any change in your energy?
Absolutely.
In what way?
Well, I've had a ringing in my ears for a long time.
Did you answer it?
That's it. That's what I'm doing now.
All right. What are you receiving?
Psychic messages. And books on UFOs or whatever are coming to me.
All right.
And
what will you do with this information?
Ask you questions about who are they.
Ask me questions?
I don't know what to do. I'm getting very confused with it.
All right, very good. Remember, confusion is not inherently negative. Confusion is confusion and unlocking from a previous mode of thought into an opening in new modes of thought. You are fusing with more of yourself. Co-fusion. Understand?
Yes.
Now, what is it in your life that excites you the most? What do you want to do in life?
Right. Change is what comes up, and nothing.
Well, you will always change. That is the only constant in creation.
Become more psychic and do something with it.
Do what?
Make it my profession.
And so you will interact with individuals in what way?
Serve them.
All right.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
All right, yes, you are. You are sure. You are just not sure that you are sure.
Right.
Because individuals say, well, yes, that is one thing to do, but you know what everyone thinks about that. So you do not necessarily want to be sure that you are sure that that's what you want to do, because everyone says that that might be a silly thing to do as a living. Now, is that really what you want to do? Is that the most exciting thing you can think of to do?
I don't know.
Yes, you do. When you think of yourself doing something in life, and you think of the most ecstatic feeling you can have, what picture comes up that would show you in a position that would be creating that ecstatic feeling? What are you doing in your imagination, in your mind's eye, when you imagine that you would be the type of person who would create that kind of ecstasy in your life? Are you doing the readings? Are you being of assistance in some other way? What do you see in your mind's eye?
Being very powerful, being of assistance in a way I don't know yet. It seems like that's what's so confusing to me.
Well, what is the picture? What is the picture? Can you describe it?
Just, I'm in a room. I'm very, very well respected. People are coming to me. It's a one-on-one interaction.
Do you respect them?
Yes.
All right. And then what happens in this interaction?
We talk, and I help them. I heal them.
All right. Now, what was so difficult about that? Does that excite you?
Yeah, it scares me too.
Ah, why?
Because it's something I've never done before.
So? Will you do me a favor?
Yes.
Take one deep breath and let it out. Now, may I suggest something to you?
Yes.
You have never done that before either. Did it scare you?
No.
Why
I've
not?
taken deep breaths before.
Not that one.
True.
So what's the big deal? The idea of doing what excites you is just like the taking of that breath. So what? You have never done it before. You are always, every single moment, doing things you have never done before. Oh yes, they may look similar to things you have done, but they are always new for the first time. When you start allowing everything to be equally new, then you will recognize you have done many things for the first time, all the time. And therefore the idea that you are simply going to do one more thing for the first time won't be as scary. You will not be blowing it out of proportion like you are doing by labeling it as something so different and so unlike you that you could not possibly imagine that you have the ease of ability to do it. But it is as easy as taking that breath and letting it out. It is just as easy. If you define it to be more difficult, it will feel difficult. And that is what is scaring you. You are defining it to be something special. It is unique. And in that sense, it is a special service. But in the overall sense, it is nothing special. You are a co-creator. You can do anything you wish. You always do create the reality based upon what you believe to be true. So the idea of doing that, what you have imagined would excite you, in that sense is no different from anything else you have ever created in your life, because you will still be using the same power that you have always used to create whatever you have experienced in life, and in that sense it will be no different. You follow me? It is only the labels that your society puts on such a thing that makes it seem as if it is beyond your capability, when in fact you're actually doing these things all the time and actually have done them many times, but in guises that have allowed it to be all right. Have you never consoled a friend about anything?
Well, of course I have.
Well then, what is the difference? When you do it out of love, when you do it out of service, you will know what to say. The information will simply be there, because it will be heartfelt, and it will be out of love. And you will simply find that the flow of information will come, just like that. You follow me? Now, are you willing to allow it to be that simple?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Whatever rate is comfortable for you is the appropriate rate. Do not berate yourself. Do not worry about your ability. Remember, your ability to perceive that that is something that excites you is, in and of itself, a signal of your ability to manifest it. Otherwise, you would not have the capability of perceiving it. You follow me? The universe does not do pointless and extraneous things. You cannot have the ability to perceive of something like that if you do not also have the ability to do it. Understand?
Yes.
Two sides of the same coin. No one-sided coins here. Understand? Now, therefore, all you really need to do is to trust that if that is what you are perceiving is going on and you wish to be of service in that way, act upon whatever opportunities have presented themselves to you to allow you to function in that way, in whatever is a comfortable way for you, and bit by bit you will allow the energy through in a knowing, loving, and trusting way, and then you will be of service and attract the circumstances necessary to allow you to accelerate, to take the next step when you are ready for that. You will never go faster than you are ready for. So do not worry. You will be able to handle it always. Because again, if something came that you were not really able to handle, there would be no point to it. And the universe doesn't do pointless things. So simply trust that you always have the built-in governor that says, whoa, 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 that's too much for me now. The universe will say, all right, all right. Take your time. No rush, no hurry. Do what excites you the most in the way it excites you the most. Do it with integrity. And you will always be being of service. Remember that the things you are exploring now, the things you are learning now, will be some of the information you may impart to other individuals who wish to do the same thing later. So pay attention to what you're going through. You can use all of it in a positive way. Follow me?
Mm-hmm.
Relax. Laugh a little more about the idea you are going through. And if you feel the anxiety, that's all right. Remember, anxiety is the same energy as excitement with judgment placed upon it. That is all. That is all it is. You follow me?
Yes.
So, relax the judgment, and you will let go of the anxiety. It will turn into excitement and laughter, and you will giggle your way through life.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes.
Has that served you?
Yes.
Do you believe you can apply that?
Yeah.
Is there something holding you up?
Well, I'm still confused if it's extraterrestrial or is coming from within myself.
What difference does it make? And it is always, in a sense, both. Because the external is the internal. Understand that what you are perceiving here, even though it is colloquially referred to as an extraterrestrial connection between myself and the physical channel on your planet, still means that the physical channel must be willing to utilize his own energy to create, with me, a model of my energy so you can experience it in your reality. So it always has to be both anyway. You follow me?
Mm-hmm.
So what difference does it make where it comes from? If it comes from you, that's enough. And that's the whole idea. But of course, as soon as you open up into your full potential, you automatically make connections to every level of consciousness there is, and you will be in communication with all sorts of different levels of consciousness. Because you are connected to everything, like everyone is. You actually become, in a sense, each other's consciousness. So in that sense, it doesn't really matter where it comes from. That is why we are always hesitant to put a label upon it. For now, because you are at such a tender stage in letting it through, just let it through for the sake of the information itself and for the sake of the service you can provide. Don't worry about where it comes from. If you know you are doing service in positive light, then simply trust that the information will be positive. When you need to know specifics about where it's coming from, you'll know. If you don't know, then you don't need to know right now. You follow me?
Oh, yes.
Does that work for you?
Yes.
Trust it. Thank you for your service.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you.
I always love interacting with you at all levels.
And all of you.
And there's been 3 related ideas that have sort of confused me over the last...
More confusion.
Well, not confusion. I've just been wondering about... In your book, you describe...
My book?
The association? You talk about the... You talk about the...
Our book.
Our book.
Yes.
All right, our book. The association, and you talk about the difference between imagination and fantasy in terms of the consequences. I think, I'm not sure if I'm right there, but...
The basic definition between what you typically call imagination and fantasy is simply that it is all real, quote unquote. It all exists on some level of reality and is an ongoing dimension of experience. But that which you may refer to, and this is a very fine line, as fantasy, simply may be that portion of some reality that doesn't necessarily have a high degree of interaction or significance for the reality you happen to be focused in at any particular time. Whereas imagination applies very closely to what it is you are working on now.
Okay, that's what I thought you said. Okay, so my question then on that is, as you go through this process, how do you differentiate between imagination and fantasy? Let's say...
Well, with your integrity, basically.
I thought it had something to do with integrity.
Yeah. Again, you simply recognize, in all honesty, what it is you wish to do. And if you are, in your terminology, acting upon those circumstances that represent your ability to be of service, then you will simply find that the flow of information that comes through you will always represent your imagination, and that the information will be usable in that way. Even if it comes in a fantasy format, you will still find that there will be an imagination counterpart that will contain the information necessary to apply in your life, even though you may use fantasy symbols. Sometimes fantasy can also be simply the symbology that you create to represent the information that can work for you, but therefore doesn't mean that the symbology itself needs to be taken literally. You follow me? It is simply the carrier vehicle for the essence of the information that will work for you.
Now, is rationalization then at the same level as fantasy?
Rationalization?
Uh-huh.
It can be.
For example...
but not always. Sometimes it can also be judgment and invalidation. Depends upon which side you are using, positive and or negative.
Well, if I find a symbol that I'm puzzled about and I want to decide what it is...
you mean, I see. All right. Definitions within the channel are now intermixing. You mean rationalization in the sense of the word reason.
Right.
Yes. All right. Yes.
It's like fantasy? No.
No. Reason, rationalization, is the recognition of what the essential message is within the fantasy construction, within the fantasy format, within the symbolic format.
Okay.
Because the fantasy in that way generally is archetypal. In other words, fantasy creates symbols that are drawn from your collective consciousness and unconsciousness and subconsciousness that make the most sense to you to deliver the message and the information that needs to be delivered in the easiest possible way. So you can apply a rationale to it and simply evoke the kernel of information without the archetypal symbology that sometimes surrounds it, that originally delivered the message to begin with.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much for your sharing. Sharing.
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
I was sitting here, and one of my questions got sort of discussed with somebody else, so I'll ask something else. A while back was the anniversary of my mother's death in April.
All right. Happy anniversary.
Yeah. At that time, her birthday, the anniversary of her birthday is coming up on July 9th. And
happy anniversary again.
Yeah. I had sensed at that time in April that she was trying to contact me, and she had wanted me to go to the cemetery where she was in the mausoleum, and I really strongly resisted that.
Why?
And
what are your beliefs about the idea of life and death?
Well, I don't believe that she's there, and I don't believe. I totally believe that her soul is gone.
Gone where?
Well, that's what I'd like you to tell me. I don't know if she's reincarnated or where she is or what she's doing.
Our perception at this time is that she is still in spirit. Now, just because a symbol is used to make a connection doesn't mean that the spirit is necessarily hanging around that place. It simply may be an attachment point, a common frame of reference, that's all. Understand?
Yeah.
Now, what was the real reluctance to go there?
I guess.
Yes.
The fear of.
Yes.
The fear of going. I don't know. It was real hard to describe it. There was this knowing that I need to confront her.
Confront.
Well, there's a lot of things that were unfinished between us when she died, and I'd like to be able to tell them, but I can't talk to somebody that can talk back, and so.
Oh yes, you can, and they can talk back. Now, understand something. We have already discussed the idea that all consciousness is interconnected. When you talk with yourself, with an address that goes to the vibration of your mother, then it will be received and information will be sent. You are the conduit through which all information can go to anyone, anywhere, anywhen. All you have to do is think of the individual, send the message, and it will be on some level, at some point, received. All you then have to do is open up, receive what you know is an absolute reciprocal of what you have sensed and understand that a connection has been made and that it is real in your sense and that you can give yourself the permission to allow it to be so.
I kept feeling that what I really would have liked would have been for somebody to channel my mother and so that we could have a fight and get it cleared up once and for all.
What do you want to talk about? What do you think needs resolution?
A lot of feelings of
Yes.
of her betrayal.
Betrayal? Betrayal of what? Are you playing victim?
Oh, well, as a child, I felt that there was a lot of things that were not.
Yes.
That I should have been protected from, and I wasn't, and
All right.
and that she was not. That she didn't believe me when I discussed certain things with her.
All right.
And
Then you can do the following as a suggestion, if you are willing to.
Mm-hmm.
When you sit down in a relaxed and meditative state, be the child now and go back through the whole scenario. You will be interacting with her energy. And you can clear it all out.
It's like I have this fantasy of how I would like her to answer, and then there's this part of me that says, but the way she's always responded to me was always to deny anything that I
But
said.
that's not who she is now. Is it?
I don't know. I only know how she was. So
All right.
it's hard to know.
Take it for granted that when you physically leave the body, your perspective on many things changes quite abruptly. Now, the individual at this time has learned enough to be able to respond to you if you are willing to understand that if you simply send from the heart without accusation, because you, after all, chose to be born to that person, you know, and you knew what you were getting yourself into. So take responsibility for that. We are not excusing anything they may have done outside of their integrity, but take the responsibility for recognizing that you made the choice, knowing full well that there would be things you may have to work out between you. So first and foremost, stop playing victim. Recognize that you have changed, she has changed. Sometimes it may, in your society, take death to change the point of view of an individual, but that's the way it's been. Now that point of view has changed. So take it for granted that what she is learning has expanded her point of view because she has the assistance on that side to be able to help her do so. And to recognize that she no longer needs to function outside of her integrity. These are some things she has learned. She is willing to communicate this idea and willing to communicate between you anything you wish to equalize between yourselves. But first you must be willing to trust that that can happen. Play the scenario out in your imagination and take it for granted that the scenario you prefer is representative of the reality that in your terms is true and real. Because all possible scenarios are real. And when you create yourself to be the vibration of the type of interaction that you prefer to be in your reality, you automatically take yourself to that plane and you will interact with that portion of her that already exists on a plane that is willing to interact with you in the way you prefer. You follow me?
Yes.
Trust it. You have that ability. These things do not happen for no reason. And many times an individual in that sense will seem to leave things unresolved and go on seemingly beyond your reach so that you will stretch out beyond your physical awareness, make the contact, know the contact is there, and then trust that you can resolve things even from this point of view to that point of view, from this level to that level.
Without needing to have someone be a medium of
You
her.
are the medium. You are the channel. Especially since it's your family. Because many times the family, what you recognize as a single family, are all extensions in many ways of the same oversoul. So you are only, in essence, talking to yourself anyway. Now, it can happen through another individual. And we are not invalidating that by any means. That is not our particular duty. There are individuals who have more connection to the idea of the immediate spirit level, just, quote-unquote, above your immediate physical plane, and they can be of assistance to you. However, don't give your power over to them as being able to do something you cannot do for yourself, especially when you're talking about someone who is an immediate member of your own family. You can always function as the go-between, as the medium. So, it is simply up to you as to whether you're willing to do so or not. To believe that you can, in fact, create new agreements now, and that those agreements will stick and represent the reality you prefer. You follow me?
Yes, thank you very much.
Pleasant dreams. Remember that you're talking in your dream reality with her all the time anyway.
I'll work on remembering them.
You don't have to work at it. You will remember what you need to. The more you open up in love, the more you will remember of what you need to remember. It is only the tightness and the restrictiveness of your fear of facing it that has shut off your memory of those communications. Open up. Everything has been done for a reason. All right?
All right.
Thank you very much. Think also of what you call daffodils. They can help invoke a particular frequency that will allow you both to imagine that you are carrying out this conversation in a beautiful green plain of flowers under a bright and blue and lovely sky. You are, in a sense, therefore, simply going to have tea and a chat. And it is nothing more serious than that. All right?
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you.
First of all, I just want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for all the help you've been to me.
Oh, we thank you for your sharing, which has increased the knowledge of our society 1,000-fold.
Thank you. Welcome. I was wondering if you could help me identify, it's almost a chronic fear or low-grade terror that seems to be around me. It's gotten
low-grade terror.
Yeah.
Are you saying you wish to trade it in for a high grade? Something a little more refined, a little purer? High-grade terror, please. Is that what you are saying?
No, not at all.
All right.
I'm saying that it's not as...
Define your low-grade terror.
Well, I call it low grade in the sense that I'm not truly stricken by terror in the point where I can't function.
All right. How does it serve you then?
Well, it seems to have the ingredient of having me watch everything that I do, so that I feel like I'm going to do something wrong. Although, I mean, I've listened to many of your tapes. I understand about nothing being intrinsically right or wrong, but it's almost like this fear that just is around me, that I'm being judged or I'll be punished.
All right. I have a suggestion for you.
Okay.
It's only a suggestion. You do not have to do it.
All right.
Whether you are with other individuals, but I would suggest that perhaps better when you are alone, take what you call a glass, you understand, a glass,
Mm-hmm.
and purposely drop it and break it. That sent shivers up your spine, didn't it? Lets you know you're alive, doesn't it? Now, if you are willing to allow yourself permission to do that, then you will be giving freedom to what you are simply holding back on. You will know that it's all right to, quote-unquote, overstep that bound from time to time in certain ways, and it still doesn't have to represent a lack of your integrity. But it can, pun intended, break the ice. It can shatter the ideas you are holding on to and allow you to finally get past it, get through it, by shattering that illusion that this is such a terrible thing. You follow me?
Yes, I do.
So, allow yourself a little bit of freedom to purposely, quote-unquote, misbehave, and then you will have experienced what you are afraid to experience. It will be over and done with, and you'll recognize that you don't necessarily prefer to do that anymore, and that having done it, it's no big deal.
Will one glass do it?
See how you feel.
Oh, no.
See how you feel. It is simply a suggestion. We would suggest that if you pay very close attention to the total quality of the shatter, it can evoke certain energies within you that will allow you the catharsis you need to go through, that will allow you to identify certain elements within yourself. Maybe 3 glasses will do it.
Yeah, I feel a tremendous amount of grief right now.
Good. You are releasing. Let it go.
Okay.
Let it go. You are simply releasing your old self and mourning it a little bit. But you are simply changing into who you really wish to be. All you need to do is crash through that imaginary barrier you have set up for yourself. And so you can utilize that as a tool. See what happens.
Okay, thank you very much.
Oh, thank you very much. Have a crashing good
Well,
time.
thank you. I will.
Sure.
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you.
It's wonderful to be here with you again. I
And
have
you.
something I'd like to share.
Then speak up so all can hear.
Thing has happened that I used to dread very
Right.
much.
Right.
And now that it's come to pass, I find that it wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be.
Ah.
And
Remember that glass crasher?
for a long time, I've known that my father was getting older, and I knew that one of these days he'd be leaving the physical plane.
One of these days, yes.
And he has.
Yes.
And I find that through the last days he was in the hospital, and immediately after his death, and even more so now, our connection has gotten stronger and stronger until I feel that he has become part of me. We've blended.
Yeah, it always has been.
Yes, but now it's like a lot of and some of the barriers that used to be there, the constraints between us as far as expressing ourselves to each other.
Very good. Now listen to the synchronicity of this, especially the individual who wishes dialogues with her mother. Now that she is no longer physical, some of the old barriers no longer remain in the way of your communication. Very good. You see what you can all learn by listening to each other's circumstances?
Exactly. We gave him a wonderful send-off. We
Hey.
had a memorial service that was a celebration of his life and not a mourning of his death.
Oh, thank you.
And with photographs taken from all the periods of his life so that his friends could see how he looked at each age in his life. And friends that came and shared their memories of him, and the family, their memories and interactions. So it was like piecing together his life so that we could share the entirety of it and celebrate it.
Do you know how he celebrated it?
He was there enjoying every minute of it.
And in the astral plane, he imagined and created, of course, in thoughts or things, a cake. And blew on the candles.
Oh, I love that. One of the last things he was reminiscing about in the hospital when he was sort of drifting in and out of consciousness was birthdays.
Yes.
He was going back through all the birthdays.
Yes. So he lit all the candles all at once and lit up his life.
That's wonderful. Part of the synchronicity of that whole event was one of the last things that he said to me in the hospital, again when he was drifting, was he asked, "Has the boat left the dock yet?" And I said, "No, Dad, not yet. The boat's still anchored, still tied to the dock." As I was going through his things after his death and getting ready for the ceremony, I came across a little booklet with a poem by Walt Whitman that was written just before his own death. And it was the joy that he felt at sailing out to a new adventure.
Right.
And when I saw that, I knew it was a message from my father.
Very good.
And I used that
Very
as
good.
the very last statement of Bon
Yes.
Voyage to him.
Again, remember, all of you, synchronicity is all there is. All events are interconnected, and messages can come from any direction in any way. The way to understand that it is a message, and the way for you to grant it validity and meaning as a message, and reality as a message, is to recognize the degree of meaning that it has for you, that you have put into it.
Yes.
If it has that meaning for you, it is synchronicity, and it is the message you need.
Yes, I realized some time ago that all symbols, anything can be used as a symbol,
Yes.
and we always know the meaning because there are symbols.
Because
We know
remember,
them.
especially when individuals are no longer physical, they do not always have the ability to communicate with you in the way you think they ought to. So they may gently nudge you towards something that will deliver the message for them that still exists in your physical world.
Yes.
Like a book, like a painting,
Like a picture.
like a picture.
My sister-in-law, my brother's ex-wife, got up and sang a song for him, which was in Spanish and English, and the words were, I am the boat, I am the sea. I sail in you, you sail in me.
Oh, how lovely.
This completed that triad of synchronicity. I had no idea what she was going to sing. And it was heartwarming because I realized the perfectness of it.
Yes.
And one last thing that I wanted to share was that one of our strong connections and moments of delight in my childhood with my father was going on picnics to the poppy fields. And the last time I talked to him in the recovery room, I was talking to him and focusing my attention on him, and I looked up, and on the wall was a photograph of poppy fields.
Very good.
So I took him on a little trip to the poppy fields.
Thank you very much for expressing the joy of your interaction, the joy of your synchronicity, and for remembering that what you typically have thought of as a death day is always a birthday as well.
That's true. And one more thing I want to thank you so sincerely for, Bashar, is through your interactions with us, I've learned that I am always changing. And
Yes.
because I have allowed myself to follow my excitement and to speak about dolphins and do a whole evening of that, which I'd never thought I'd be able to do in public, I was able to get up and share my memories of my father without breaking down in tears. So that was also very wonderful for me.
We thank you very much for your love and your sharing.
Thank you, Bashar.
Said let go of the anxiety. Could you give some guidelines in helping to let go of the anxiety?
Well, again, it can be very easily done when you recognize, as we have suggested, that anxiety and excitement are the same energy. So if you understand that and start acting like you believe it, then you will simply feel the energy as excitement and not anxiety. It is not that you will get rid of the energy. It is not that you will not continue to feel the energy. It is that you will feel it in the way that is indicative of how you look at it. That is all. So know that it represents the discovery of something new. That the energy is there, the vibration is there, because you are on the threshold of more information, more awareness. And we assume that that's an exciting thing.
Well, how come when I then feel excitement, it's like joyous and white, and anxiety is black and heavy? I mean, I don't see.
Perhaps you are missing the point. Any energy you feel in any particular way is felt that way because of an already ingrained assumption about what it represents. So if it feels dark and heavy, that means you must already have a built-in belief somewhere in your consciousness that what it represents is a negative thing, rather than a positive thing.
Okay.
You follow me?
Okay.
So, if you find that it is dark and heavy, say, why do I believe that what this energy represents is a negative thing? If I don't choose to believe that, What do I choose to believe? I choose to believe that this energy brings me positive information in a positive way. As soon as you start exploring that idea, the energy will begin to change because you will change your belief. And whenever you change your belief about life, your feelings must follow, because all feelings are reactions to something you believe to be true. There is no such thing as a feeling without basing it on an already pre-existing belief.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes.
Does that define the idea sufficiently for you?
Pretty much so. Yeah.
Pretty much. All right. If you feel the energy in that way, dive into it. Explore it. Find out why you believe it has to come negatively. It might be as simple as that you are acting out of habitual ritual. It may be nothing more than that. Always assuming first that the discovery of something new is an, what is it everyone, a big one, unknown. And you know what your society has thought about the unknown. Oh, scary. Might be something hiding in there that can leap out and bite me. The unknown definition is always to you scary. When you understand, once again, that there is absolutely nothing you could ever discover about yourself that cannot be applied in a positive way if you so desire, then the unknown will be ecstatic. And you will invite every new experience, and when you invite new experiences, you will not have apprehension and anxiety. The energy will be exciting. You follow me?
Yeah.
Does that turn on a few lights?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Click, 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 click.
Hello, Bashar.
Hello.
I have just received a letter from Jennifer Joseph from the Hopi Reservation, and I would like to read you a very brief portion of it.
All right.
She's one. Thank you. She's one of my new old friends, and
All right.
when I was on the reservation sharing information about crystals, I also shared what happened in Mount Shasta on March 30th, and also Sunset Crater. And I gave her your tape, Old Friends, New Friends, with Anima, Zeta Reticulum, in the meditation to the mothership.
Nice.
Here's a brief portion of her letter. We listened to Bashar's tape recording and find it very interesting. I recently had an experience with a spaceship. I, with my husband, were out by the house the other night, and I kept looking up, wondering about you and your friends' teaching and Bashar's tape. I was looking then, all of a sudden, I saw this light move towards the south. It was white and small, which moved like this, and she draws a straight line. It goes up, down, and up. It was just there. Then it went forward, and then it zigzagged. Then it disappeared completely. I was excited but very happy. What does Bashar look like now and before? The breathing, is it natural or what on the tape? My parents were interested as to what I could remember to tell them. Is Bashar a male energy from Essassani? I have so much to ask. Does Bashar know everyone by name?
No.
Okay.
Yes, he is male.
Yes.
Yes, there is a physical description which exists, which you can share. The
intend
breathing is the opening of all the resonating cavities in the channel's body so that the entire body breathes with the same energy which we link with.
Thank you. Do you have anything else to share with my Hopi friends?
Simply remind us, as they already do know, but some may have forgotten, that the next world, as every world, comes from within, regardless of what seems to be going on without. And that by going within and then emerging through a new door, you will, once again, as you did before, emerge into that new world populated by all the individuals who believe as you do, and who will create with you that world of love, peace, and light.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you.
I'd like you to comment on something I've been dwelling on lately.
All right.
It's a concept, I haven't had the concept of a group karma, that the entire planet could have a karma,
Yeah.
group consciousness.
Karma is simply agreement.
Okay, my idea was that the entire group consciousnesses that had destroyed Muldoc and you and Lemuria, Atlantis is still on third density in this planet.
You are in third density going to fourth.
Okay, and we
The idea of Maldek, in that sense, yes, created many imbalances, which then played themselves through the various incarnations in what you call Lemuria and Atlantis, even though there were also many positive ideas in Atlantis. The present cycle of negativity that is now ending, in that sense, was begun specifically in Atlantis, even though obviously it carries through a momentum from much longer ago than that, all the way back to what has been referred to colloquially as some of the Orion systems in other star systems altogether. But the idea now is that you are, shall we say, wrapping that all up and getting on with a new awakening, a new awareness, a new integration, which allows you to create new types of karma. Karma, after all, not being retribution, but simply the recognition and the need for balance with any particular momentum once begun. You are now balancing that idea out, and therefore will find that it will not require very much longer that you exist in any physiological state of the society at all, and in what we have termed a few thousand of your years will move on into fifth density as we are moving on now.
I see.
Does that answer the question?
Yes.
Yes,
I think I got lost there.
Oh, all right.
There was I think that answers it.
All right. Thank you very much. Shirley.
Hello, Bashar. It's Lillian.
Yes.
I have a question. I'm practicing my hands-on healing.
Oh, very good.
And I have a friend
Don't forget to touch yourself from time to time.
Oh, yeah. I do that a lot. In the good sense. I have a friend who is a fairly young person, I believe early 40s, a male, who has just been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease.
All right.
And I'm going to be working with some energies with him. And I had one channel advise starting with the top of the medulla oblongata with my hands, and from there I would know what to do.
Okay. For you see, it is very similarly connected, though we cannot share much information with you about this, to the ideas that are associated with what you call epilepsy as well. And therefore is involving some ideas of the short-circuiting of certain neurological patterns in the brain. And this can cause what you call a degenerative process throughout the entire neural network of the body. So you can aid and assist by balancing some of that energy electromagnetically and allowing there to be a regeneration of the communication lines within the physical system.
Are those lines something like building new meridians?
You can do it that way, yes. For the brain, in a sense, is holographic. And one particular area can function in many ways. It does not have to be assigned to a particular area, and only that area can create the desired effect. You can shift the consciousness around, so to speak, even though, as we have said, the consciousness does not literally exist within the body. It is the body that exists within the consciousness. So you can phase the individual with your energy into another modality that allows them to use, yes, as you have said, in a sense, new meridians, so that the communication can be reestablished, and therefore they can balance and level themselves out.
This seems to be primarily on the right side of the body, so I already did a little bit of talking about the idea of loosening up the left brain and the female self and the creative. Is there anything else having to do with the belief system that I could use?
Yes, always. And some of it has to do, on some level, with interactions with family members, self-imposed karma from other lives, and also the blending and balancing of the masculine and feminine aspect within that particular individual, and their reluctance, perhaps on some levels, to do that.
Oh, okay. Very nice. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hello.
I guess the question I have is just curiosity. Someone in our office was in a car accident about 3 weeks ago.
Yes.
And she has been in a coma ever since.
All right.
Is it possible for someone to channel her energies to find out what's going on with her and why she stayed in a coma so long, or if there's brain damage?
How long has it been in your terms of time?
About 3.5, almost 4 weeks.
Well, that's not very long. There have been many longer. Now, there are as many reasons for the creation of that idea as there are individuals who create that in their lives. Generally speaking, in general, many individuals create that state so that in that state they can work in an accelerated fashion on some of the ideas they want to play out in their lives, so that if and when they decide to reconnect to physical reality, they will have very quickly gotten beyond many experiences that originally may have taken many lives to live. So in a sense, it is as they impose upon themselves the limitations that may be representative of the limitations of many lives all at once. And in that structure, in that immobility, there is actually paradoxically a high rate of acceleration and integration of all the different ideas they want to look at, so that when they reemerge into your particular reality, if they decide to, they are truly a different person. They have elevated, ascended themselves into a higher frame of reference, a higher vibratory level, and that is why many individuals who come out of the so-called comas know what they wish to really do in life, and do it, and act upon it, and do not hesitate any longer. That is why also many of you create that particular type of endeavor by using what you call your vehicles, your accelerated vehicles, your cars in that sense. Because it signifies the idea that you are accelerating from one reality into another level. And you have, in a sense, crashed through all the barriers by placing that restriction on yourself. Now, you will work them all through very rapidly and emerge once again as a new individual. Or choose to understand that you can be of service by reincarnating and leaving that body, or by remaining in spirit form and functioning as a guide for other individuals doing similar ideas. That is the general reason why that format you call a coma is created in your society from time to time.
And why would she emerge with brain damage?
Because, again, individuals many times will retain certain types of limitation to impose upon themselves that limitation for the duration of the physical life, so that, again, next life they will not need any form of limitation whatsoever. Again, it does not have to happen that way. Do not misunderstand me. It does not have to happen that way. But generally these things have been happening upon your planet in that way because of the belief systems that you have all been brought up with, so that it doesn't leave you an awareness that there is any easier way to do it. And so many times you will impose these limitations upon yourself simply because that is the only way you can imagine getting it all over with. So that the next life you will be absolutely clear and clean. You follow me? These are some general reasons, although there may be specific reasons relative to that particular individual, which, to discover them all, may require some investigation as to who they really are, what belief systems they had in life, and also what belief systems the family of that individual and friends of that individual may have, because obviously anyone who is connected to this particular incident is also going to learn something about themselves by being connected to that individual and interacting with them in that way. You follow me?
I think so.
Does that explain it sufficiently?
Yes.
Oh, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharing. Remember simply that there is a reason for everything, and it is usually based upon the person's reasons to whom the situation is happening. And it has to do with the beliefs that you are brought up with. For if those beliefs do not leave you any other way to create your reality, you will choose very drastic measures. Yes?
Yes, I'm interested in navigation.
All right. Where do you wish to go?
I think it would be great fun to explore other worlds.
All right. You have in your astral state.
That I have.
Yes.
I'm not too bad at coastal navigation and plotting a course on charts, for a violin teacher. I'm not too bad a sailor.
For a violin teacher? Well, that's all about navigation, because that's vibration and tone, which is what navigation is all about.
So it is. So my question was, knowing that the Earth has a gravity sphere and what they call plasma, at least the scientists call it plasma here, of the atmosphere,
Yes.
You understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
My curiosity was, when you're traveling in interstellar space,
Yes.
Do you navigate other ways beside the stars, or do you also have to take into account
we do not navigate in that sense by the stars at all, except that we recognize patterns and charts of where it is we wish to go.
Mm-hmm.
But the idea of our navigation is primarily through tonal vibration. As we have described briefly, and we'll do so now briefly again, the idea in our understanding is that objects are in and of themselves vibrational equations.
Yes.
And that location is one of the variables in that equation. Therefore, we simply have created a grid if you will, a holographic, three-dimensional spherical map that simply plots out the extrapolated vibrations of any particular distance from any particular point.
So then you're looking at your different points of reference as vibrational frequencies.
Oh, absolutely. Now, we do have a type of call-out reference. And colloquially put in your language, you can simply consider the idea to be a sphere. Mm-hmm. If you have a circle, a plane in the middle of that sphere, it can be referred to as what you commonly call the galactic ecliptic, the plane of the galaxy.
Yes.
If you wish, simply GE. Mm-hmm. Therefore, if you bisect it with a line, that line from the center towards you, through your world, would be considered 0. Mm-hmm. The one away from you is simply, in your terms, 180 degrees. Uh-huh. Either 180 degrees, if you wish, starboard, or 180 degrees port. Then, if you have the sphere, the top is positive, the bottom is negative. So in that sense, you also have, perhaps from the center, rings, or what we call radials, yes, from the center out. So any particular distance from the center will be at such and such a radial. Mm-hmm. Then you determine the angle, either positive and or negative. And that tells you where you are in 3 locations. But that is within our computers as a vibratory equation. And so simply, as we create the isolation field around our craft, that unlocks us from any particular vibratory universe and impose, through the harmonics of light, the new vibrational equation upon the craft. When we reinsert the craft into any particular reality, it will automatically take up residence at that location represented by the vibratory signature frequency. Not really having traveled the distance, but simply removed itself from that reality and redeposited itself at that particular other location.
Mm-hmm. And then about as far as the magnetosphere of our planet or any other planets, do you have to make calculations?
To some degree, yes, because once we are, once again, traveling, quote-unquote, in a more colloquial sense, within any particular reality, we then must navigate by the gravitational dynamic tensor field, the electromagnetic field, the masses of stars and planets within that particular reality, if it contains them.
And then when you get closer to our planet, for instance, then you would be subject to our compass, our magnetic pole?
Not unless we remove the gravitational field from around our craft. Each and every spacecraft has its own gravitational bubble. And in that sense, that is why our craft can be completely perpendicular to your world, and we still feel as if we are facing, quote-unquote, down when we stand on our floor.
I see. Well, I find this exciting for me to be asking you questions such as this, because I think something else, some other level of my intelligence is speaking here. I've never had any chemistry or any engineering training at all.
Me neither.
Well,
our science in that sense, our engineering in that sense, our technology in that sense is mostly intuition.
That's what I was operating on at this point, so I thank you for your interaction.
Thank you very much.
I'll try to come up with another good one.
Oh, you don't have to try.
Thank you.
And there does not have to be a next time in that sense. You are on your own path and you know what you are doing. Simply go and enjoy it. I know. Shooting!
Good evening, Bashar.
And to you.
This is my first experience meeting a channeled entity.
Welcome.
Thank you.
It is our first experience meeting you.
Do you find me as interesting as I find you?
Always.
Well, I came here to ask one very important question that's important to me.
No,
And I don't know how you're going to answer it, but I'm just going to
Neither
ask
do
it.
I.
I'm just going to ask it. I'm considering making a career move, a very important career move.
How exciting!
Yes, it's exciting and it's scary and all that.
If you say so.
And what I want to ask is, and what I want to know is, am I doing the right thing?
Question in return, as always. Is it the thing that represents what excites you the most in life?
Yes.
Then yes. Because excitement is your physical translation of the vibratory energy that represents who you are at this moment. Therefore, when you act with integrity on the thing, in the direction of the thing at any given moment that excites you the most, that is you being in synchronous harmony with the path you chose to be at that moment. And that's why you can trust it. And you can not only trust it in the sense of knowing that that's what represents who you are, but you can trust that therefore, because it is who you are, it is the thing you will be able to do, A, most effortlessly, and B, most abundantly. So slide. The longer you do something you don't want to do, that you do not prefer to do, the longer you make it take to do the thing that excites you. So act upon it if it is something that in all honesty with yourself is the thing you would find most exciting, and carry with you the assumption, therefore, that since it represents who you are, it will bring with it automatically all the necessary ingredients, circumstances, situations, and individuals to make it, to allow it to be the situation that will work best for you and all concerned.
But if it doesn't work out, I can't go back.
You are not paying attention. How can something that is you not work out? You are simply dredging up old belief systems in your society about how things work. They don't work that way. There is no such thing as something not working out. No such thing. If something happens in a negative way that you did not expect to happen, it worked out perfectly according to the belief you brought with you into it. And that is what puts you in touch with the beliefs you have. For if you do not trust what you are doing, then that will show up in the circumstance. And if you are holding on to something because you're afraid it might not work out, then that circumstance will only be able to manifest to whatever degree you are moving in that direction, and will not be able to manifest to whatever degree or percentage you are still holding on to something else just in case. You see, you are 100% an idea. 100%. If within that 100% idea you want to do this, but you are still holding on to this 30%, let us say, then the thing you really want to do will only be able to manifest 70%. Because you're still investing 30% over here. You follow me?
Yes.
When you trust that the thing that excites you the most represents the thing you can do most abundantly and most effortlessly, and therefore must always, by definition, work out, not that it has to meet your expectations, but that it always will work out according to what really is best in that sense for you, and will always be positive in nature and exciting, then you will let go of that 30% and give your full 100% trust in that direction, which will automatically bring about a 100% reflection of your trust in a positive way. It is simple physics. It is simple mechanics. That is all there is to it.
Is there a way that I can prepare myself?
Prepare yourself for what?
Is there a way that I can lose the fear? Is there something that I can do to make myself lose the fear of going ahead with something as...
Yes.
What?
Oh, you want to know what it is.
Yes. She gets a glass. Do I get a cup?
You just got one of your answers. Laugh.
Well, I do that a lot.
That will lighten you up. That will transform fear into excitement. Anxiety into excitement. Laugh. If you're going to have the fear, if you're going to choose the fear, the sooner you laugh at your choice, the less fearful it will be. First of all, you understand?
Well, I do that all the time.
All right. Then understand that you can begin to trust what you're already doing, because you already are exhibiting the traits that show you know what you're doing. And that there isn't any great mystery to this, and there isn't any esoteric, hidden, mysterious secret to allowing yourself to know that you are capable of doing what you imagine you can do. Plain and simple. You follow me?
Yes.
The other thing, perhaps if you require a process, which is valid, if you believe you need it, is to simply truly be honest with yourself and ask yourself, do I really believe I'm capable of doing the thing I say I want to do? Do I believe I deserve to do the thing I say I want to do? You follow me?
Yes.
Now, if you ask yourself these things and you answer them honestly, then you will understand what you really believe about it. Because many individuals, when they say, well, I really would like to be successful, I really would, so what's stopping me? What's stopping me? Ask yourself, well, this is just a suggestion. You may adapt this in whatever way works for you. What do I believe about people that are successful? Oh, I usually hear myself saying, successful people are frivolous. And I don't want to be frivolous. As long as I equate frivolousness with success, then I won't allow myself to be successful, will I? No. Therefore, do I have to believe that success is absolutely the same as frivolousness, as wastefulness? No, I don't. Maybe certain individuals are that way, but I don't have to be that way. So if I know I can be successful in the way I want to be, then I can give myself permission to be successful. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Does that work for you?
Yes, except I've never thought of success as being frivolous.
Oh, I am simply using that as an example. I'm not saying that applies to you.
Oh, okay.
I'm saying adapt that particular process to yourself in whatever way makes the most sense.
All right.
In other words, if you have any doubt that you are capable of doing the thing you say you want to do, which, if I may interrupt for a moment, just as an aside, to us is an absolute contradiction. If you are truly excited about something, you must be capable of doing it, or you wouldn't be excited about it.
No, I know I'm not capable of doing it. That's not a problem.
Then nothing stands in your way. That's it. Act upon whatever situations and circumstances are attracted into your life that represent what excites you the most. And they will lead you into whatever circumstances are necessary to give you whatever capabilities you may or may not have to be able to do the thing that excites you the most. There is no great mystery to this. There is absolutely nothing stopping you. There's really nothing you need to know. Follow your excitement and you will accomplish what you want. If you trust that you will. You follow me?
Yes.
It's that easy. It's that easy. That's the only other thing we could possibly tell you that you may not already understand. It is that simple. That's it. It always works. It never doesn't work, and there are no exceptions, not even you. Does that make some sense?
Yes.
Do you find that that's workable?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, but what?
Well, I know I can do it. It's just that I fear being ridiculed by other people who say, "Oh, you can't do that."
Why do you fear being ridiculed by other people?
Well, because I don't want anybody to laugh at me, unless I want them to laugh at me.
That is not why you fear it.
Well, why do I fear it?
Because if you fear the ridicule of other people, all that says is you don't necessarily believe that you can do it yourself. Because if you really knew you could do it, what difference would it make what anyone said? You wouldn't even hear it. What? What's that you said? What? Didn't catch that. Has nothing to do with me. Must be talking about someone else. Yes. You see, fear of what other people say to validate you is a fear to validate yourself. You are basing your ability on what other people will say, which is another way of saying you don't really believe you have the capability of doing it. If it is what you want to do, and you're doing it with integrity, do it. No matter what anyone else says. Don't base what you want to do on what they say. It's your life, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Well then. Can you do that?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
I got you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You are welcome. Pleasant dreams. Thank you for living your dream. That is what makes a difference.
Love to you, Bashar.
And to you.
In the spirit of the birthday of our country and our day of celebrating our independence coming up in a couple of days, I wrote something I'd like to share with you.
All right.
July 4th, 1987. We, the people, are now aware the office of the President of the United States has known since 1947 that there are extraterrestrial beings who have landed and or crashed on Earth. Our government is currently in possession of physical evidence of these things and their craft. These beings and their craft, excuse me.
Thank you.
As Chief Representative of our government, you are hereby requested to immediately release this and any other related information to the citizens whom you are employed to serve. And then a place for signature and address.
All right. Perhaps don't forget to include Happy Independence Day.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your actions. Now, you see, we have mentioned this to you before about the idea of coming up with ideas to open the lines of communication between yourself and your government, which after all is you, all of you, with regard to the release of information, because your government is very aware of our existence and has been for quite some time, as has just been pointed out. Now, we originally said, all right, we'll take a month and have individuals come up with suggestions and then create the idea of letters and communications to your governments to allow them to release in whatever way, shape, or form you think would represent a loving way this information into your society. We did not get that much of a response from you. Now, we simply allowed ourselves to enjoy our interactions, knowing that bit by bit, at whatever rate you are comfortable with, these ideas as such now would begin popping up, and that you definitely know you can have an impact and make a difference with regard to allowing your government to know it is all right to let you know what's going on because you're big boys and girls now. So the more willing you are, once again, to not just sit and think it would be nice, but to act upon it, that is what will make the difference. Thank you. And again, write your own. Because then each of you, in your own unique way, will express the same thing. Remember to be loving. For you are only, once again, talking to yourself. Thank you for your sharing. Thank you for setting off the fireworks.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Interesting. I just wrote a letter yesterday to President Reagan asking if there were such a thing as a ship from other planets or ships from other planets, would it be all right with him that it lands?
Oh, very good.
In the United States. Right. Which I thought was very interesting. I followed this guy.
Okay.
Had no idea he was going to say that. I don't
No accidents. There are no accidents.
Of course not. One thing I wanted to ask you.
Well, first of all, of course, is there have already been many ships.
Oh, yeah.
And some of them have landed from time to time. But again, it is your world. And if you do not collectively make the decision that it is all right for that to happen, as long as you maintain the barriers and the borders between yourselves in that way, then, in that sense, we will respect your decision and your timing.
All right. Well, last week you had said to me that since they are our government heads, the representatives of us, well, I had sort of disassociated.
They are you.
Right. You had said that last week.
Yes.
And I had just sort of disassociated myself from the government.
Yes.
But I find that you don't do that.
No.
No. So I thought I'd write a letter and just let them know what I'm thinking.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Every single individual makes a difference. Everyone.
Right.
Yes.
Dreams.
Dreams.
I had a dream a couple months ago, and I think it was in the fall time. There was a big mountain. I didn't see the top of it. And
big mountain.
Yeah, very big. And there were a lot of people going to it, parking their cars along the side of the street.
Yes.
The leaves were falling on the ground.
Yes.
Lots of people.
Lots of people, yeah.
You go into the mountain, and there was an escalator going down inside the mountain.
Very good.
And a big doors that opened up.
Yes. And?
And I had a little concern as to whether all my children were there.
All right.
Finally located them all. And then that's where the dream ended. And what I'd like to know is some of the dreams, ever since a little girl, have come about almost exactly like the dream.
Right.
Some of them have been altered somewhat.
Yeah.
Some of them have nothing to do with the future. And what I'd like to know is, how do I distinguish all of this? How do I know that that wasn't something that had occurred or something that will occur? Because I get the idea that it is something that's real and not made up.
Now, in a sense, recognize, in your terms, it has happened, and on some level, on one portion of that idea, you were simply sensing, quote-unquote, in advance, some of the ideas that have recently happened with regard to your May 30th interaction between your Mount Shasta and Mount Fuji in your United States and your Japan, and now the idea of your convergence between that mountain, the other mountain, and the third in what you call Hawaii, to form the triangle of energy that adds more connections between your different cultures and brings about more love, more awareness. You are sensing a physiological and an energy event. But you simply also recognize that in the way you saw it, because of your awareness of it and because there are many different awarenesses of it, that collective awareness will alter the physiological structure somewhat from time to time, and the way you discover what it means in that sense is to simply see what version of that reality happens and then play it out as it comes.
Oh, okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have a gift for you from Sedona. When we were there, we were having a great time at the Chinese restaurant. We all got fortune cookies.
Right.
And I thought it would be just super if you had a fortune cookie.
Oh, all right.
So, okay, here it goes. We haven't opened it. As a matter of fact, the cookie's stale.
That's all right. I do not eat them.
All right. It says you will be fortunate in everything you put your hands to.
Yes.
Thank you, Bashar.
Thank you very much. Allow me now the wonderful opportunity to function as the mirror I have chosen to be and allow you all to remember that that all refers to all of you. Thank you for your sharing. At this timing, let us all, in that sense, take a short break. We will resume contact momentarily. How's it going?
Great. Thank you.
All right, please continue.
Hi, Bashar. How you doing? Are you okay?
You may recognize for a few moments that we will be association representatives. Continue.
Thank you. I have a question regarding international relations on the planet Earth.
That is why we are conversing at this time, in that I am SSANI representative for Association of Worlds.
Well, welcome. We're very glad to have you here.
We thank you.
My question is that it seems in the last several years, international relationships between what we refer to as the big powers on Earth have been improving. We are making some great strides towards a positive relationship and things that are changing the world for the better, I feel.
Quite so.
However, there's one area of the world that a lot of people have questions about and for some reason never seems to fit into the positive change along with the rest of the world.
Your Middle East.
That's the place. Can you give me a little bit of information on why that is the situation?
Because in many ways that area was the reception site and reception point for very early infusion in an incarnational sense of some of the very strongest of negative energies upon your planet. They represent the high degree of limitation and focus and the playing out of that highly energetic negative state, so that in that sense they are the crucible around which all other realities and cultures upon your planet rotates and revolves. They are, in that sense, playing out much of the negativity of the remainder of your planet through that small stage, that small theater. They represent some of the very highest concentrations of the old belief systems upon your planet. In a sense, this can be looked at as a circumstance which allows the rest of you to make the changes you are making, since they are willing to function as the repository of the majority amount of the negativity upon your planet to release the rest of you to change in the ways that you desire to change. Once the rest of you have stabilized yourselves, then the greatest and most rapid changes will potentially occur within that area, once they no longer, in a sense, have to hold the symbolic torch for the rest of you in that way. In approximately what you may perceive as we perceive your energy, your year to be 1997, some of the strongest changes will occur in that area that will create some flash transformations, create great degrees of accelerated polarity, similar to the polarities that the rest of your world is exploring now, and they will simply pass through the various stages it has taken you decades to pass through in a very short order of time. You follow me?
Yes, I do. Is there anything that we can do to further or to help in this transition for this particular region?
You can send your love, and you can each act according to what you believe is the thing that represents the light and love of your truth in that way. To be a shining example to that nucleus, to that core around which you rotate, that you can then be mirrors all around 360 degrees to reflect back to them their potential for change in a positive direction. Recognize they have limited themselves by refusing to acknowledge other points of view, so they may remain within the limitation of the focus that will allow them to get the job done, as you say. But the more willing you are as an outer world around them to change and do the things that represent your love and light, then the stronger the reflection of that love and light will be back to them, and there will be a time when the momentum and the weight of the love and light that you are sending will be something that they can no longer resist.
I understand.
You can interact with them along whatever avenues and conduits may open up to represent your ability to be of service, not that you must go in interacting with them, appearing as if you are out to change them, making it seem as if you believe they should change in that way and that you are doing it in a judgmental fashion. That is not what we are referring to in that sense. But you can allow yourself to simply avail whatever opportunities come along to slide in and share of who you are, so they may see in and around themselves more reflections of that willingness to balance the idea of positivity along with all the ancient negativity.
I understand.
Does that serve you well?
Yes, it does. Thank you, and thank you for stopping by to say hello.
We thank you very much. It is always our great pleasure to observe the transformations taking place on such a world as yours, where there is a high rate of acceleration and activity.
Thanks again.
Good evening.
And to you as well, our greeting.
I have just been exploring the other dimensions of myself through channeling, but still, even though I'm experiencing the energies myself, I feel like I have some resistance to the beliefs. Can you help me track down?
What are your beliefs by definition? Are these things that you have been able to be in touch with, and can you relate them now?
No. I don't know what...
Then what is it you fear?
That it's the truth.
Why do you fear the truth?
No, that I fear that it's not the truth.
Why do you fear that it is not the truth?
Because, yeah.
What would it mean to you if in your terminology it were not, as you say, your truth?
Right, then it wouldn't be the truth. So I guess I am fearing that it's not the truth. But I don't know why.
Do you doubt your capability to have conjured up within your imagination the scenario you say gives you joy?
Yes, maybe I think it could be my imagination. So therefore,
What
my
is your imagination in your definition? Is it not that which is very real to you, or do you think it's some nebulous spirit in that way you call ghostly?
Yes, I think the imagination is not real.
Do you recognize and realize that you are living within your imagination at this very moment, and that all that you have for so very long called your physical reality is simply a projection of that which you imagine reality to be?
I'm trying to believe this. I'm starting to believe this.
Then allow us to approach it from what you call a very pragmatic level, beginning with the material world that you are used to sensing. Do you understand that in that sense you do not see with your eyes, you do not hear with your ears, but with your brain instead?
Yes.
Do you not recognize, therefore, that the belief systems that you may have been brought up with in that sense will create patterns within you, habits within you, ideas within you, frameworks within you, filters within you, and it is through these habits and patterns and frameworks and filters that you are constantly judging and looking at the world, in that sense, rearranging the ideas that your senses are receiving into the patterns that you can understand and that make sense, and that fit in with the ideas you have been taught to believe are real. Do you not understand that this is going on?
Yes, I understand that.
Then even on what you call a physiological level, realize that you are always going to transform what your senses are receiving into a pattern that makes sense according to what you have been taught to believe makes sense. And so even on that level, you are creating your own reality utterly. For you are not directly perceiving the physical reality around you, but you are perceiving what your brain tells you you are perceiving in that way, and what your brain tells you is based upon the structures that you have been taught to believe your reality exists within.
Okay. I think I'm having a problem between my intuition, what my heart is telling me or what I'm feeling, and the...
If you are feeling it, then there is no problem.
Right, okay. So
you are, in that sense, simply hesitant to act upon that feeling. Is that what you are saying?
Right. So, I mean, breaking the intellectual habit.
Well, there is one way to find out what will happen if you act upon that feeling, and that is to act upon it.
Okay. Oh, I am acting on the feelings. I'm just... It's fine, really. Okay. Thank you.
Hi, Bashar. How are you?
We are representative of the association.
I'd like to ask a question. I just came back from Mount Shasta Wednesday, and my friend Jerry Boom and I were there and had magical experiences. And I met an individual with a little dog in front of a restaurant called Maryland's, and I'd like to ask, who was that person?
Are you referring to animal consciousness?
No, the man, and he had a dog.
What chords did that individual strike within you?
Well, I thought he was a teacher.
Aren't you all?
All right, but from Shasta, from the mountain.
Did you ask?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
Maybe I should have, but I didn't. I felt he was. Okay, and the most, he never spoke. He looked like he possibly was a Tibetan. His movements, when he said goodbye to me, he bowed like that, but never said a word. But he had such a continence, such a...
It is a messenger.
Okay.
A messenger to remind you of a path that you have once taken. Mm-hmm. A messenger to remind you, in that sense, as you call these things, of lives that have been lived in similar fashion. Mm-hmm. It was there as a reminder of something that is very familiar to you, and something that you can create within your life once again in a similar way. By using what you call your imagination to pattern yourself after the idea you believe that individual to be, you will then create within yourself the mirror image of that lifestyle and will attract to yourself all the things that are evocative of that style of life. So in that sense, it was a projection, yes. It was a messenger, yes. A teacher in the sense that you are a teacher, simply reflecting back to you the path that you have walked, and evoking from you the memory of your own understanding, of your own mastery, of your own mastership.
On March 30th, when I was up with Bashar's group. I also met another individual, maybe a couple hundred feet away, walking down the street. Was he a similar teacher?
No comment.
No comment. Okay, thank you very much.
We thank you for your sharing.
May I ask, are you the same energy that came through in the Orion and Black League information?
No.
Thank you.
Good evening. Back in 1979, I had a very serious head trauma, an accident. I was struck by a truck, and it was a very serious accident, and I almost died. And after that time, I began to take life for granted, thinking that if I could outlive something like that, I could outlive anything.
You do outlive everything.
And I was becoming very reckless in all the things that I do. And I thought it was an accident and was playing the victim for many years, well, for about 5 years. And then 2 weeks ago, when I thought my life was running real smoothly and I was very happy in my life, I had a biking accident 2 weeks ago, and I tore the ligaments in my shoulder. And I don't know the reason that happened, and I wanted to ask if you knew why.
Will you give us a moment? All right, allow us in this way to talk about the idea, the notion that was, as you say, deep within you about getting back on track and creating a mirror reflection, a mirror circumstance, a mirror situation to compensate for what you believed was an overcompensation. Now, even though it seemed as if you have been running smoothly along, you, to some degree, gave yourself an opportunity to recognize that you did not necessarily have to be bound by any of the previous boundaries, but that still within you there may have existed, and this is not the whole story, certain parameters deep within you that allowed you to continue to believe as if you had not necessarily gotten back on what you perceive to be your original track. You can remove and can soften the idea of any ligament damage. But let us begin from another direction. What is it that you are in your life? Who and what is the idea that you are? Can you answer this?
I'm real new to this awareness of myself, and I'm becoming more aware of me and searching that out.
Have the so-called accidents given you an opportunity to do this? Have they focused you in certain ways you may not have focused had you not given yourself those experiences? How have they served you? What have you learned about yourself by creating these scenarios?
I don't believe they've served me.
Everything serves you. And unless you are willing to believe that, you will not extract the positive service they can be to you. Now, we are not suggesting that it has to happen again. But individuals, and this is one of the primary reasons for what you perceive to be a reoccurrence, individuals who do not learn what they need to learn the first time something happens may create a repeat performance until they are willing to believe that it does serve a purpose. Not that you have to have done it that way at all. And you can learn many things without having to go through the idea of struggling and suffering. By all means, you do not need to struggle or suffer. But if you created a scenario to begin with in which you created the idea of the suffering and refused to believe that it had anything at all to do with your life or any place in a positive sense in what you needed to learn in life, and refuse to acknowledge it and learn from it, then many times when you are coasting right along, you will recreate that event to give yourself another opportunity to look at the things you refused to look at the first time.
If this was 5 years ago, I wouldn't have taken responsibility for this, but I have now taken responsibility for it, but I'm at this time not aware of what it is I'm supposed to learn from this incident.
I have simply asked, how has it served you? In the sense of, what are the things that you are now exploring that are different? What are the ways you are looking at life now that are different than what you called before the accident?
I'm not sure what those things are, but I am aware that I've had a lot of self-esteem issues, self-confidence issues in my life.
All right.
And it was pointed out to me that maybe because I was having, prior to both these accidents, I felt like my life was at its prime, running smoothly.
Yeah.
And maybe that I subconsciously created the accidents because I don't feel that I deserve for things to run so smoothly for myself.
Do you believe that?
Yes. I just thought maybe there was possibly some other reason.
What better reason need there be?
None.
The ultimate understanding in life is that you do in fact deserve all the happiness you can imagine. And that there is no such thing as something that is too good to be true. And therefore, if there is something in your life that is going very well, there doesn't have to be the belief that it is too good to last. And that any changes that occur in life do not have to be, in your terms, negatively drastic in order to get you to look at other things. However, there may have been certain circumstances within your attitude that simply, perhaps, would not be willing to understand those things until you gave yourself the opportunity to do it in this way. Now, you do not have to create the idea of any physiological suffering again. If you are, A, willing to understand that you do deserve ecstasy, and that you can, in a sense, cruise along smoothly, and that if something wishes to get your attention, it doesn't have to do so in such an overt manner. You follow me so far?
Yes.
Is it still an issue with you that you do not feel you deserve happiness?
No, it's not at all.
All right. What is it in life that excites you, that you like to do?
Exactly what I've been doing.
Which is?
I'm new to my career. I'm a computer analyst.
All right.
And I really enjoy my career, and I enjoy doing physical activities that I've been participating in.
All right. Why do you enjoy what you do?
Because it excites me. I can't tell you why. It just...
Yes, you can.
It just brings myself great pleasure.
What kind of connections do you find yourself able to make? Do you pay attention to your imagination?
Not always.
All right. Do you find yourself, if you had to describe yourself in any particular way, that you are far more analytical than intuitive?
Yes. No. I'm very intuitive, but I don't always follow that.
Why not?
I don't know. Something for me to look at.
It is an opportunity to blend and balance the idea of analytical thought with intuitive feeling. Because you may find also that one of the things your intuition was attempting to show you is that there may have been signals and symbols leading up to the accidents that you simply patently ignored and, in a sense, rationalized them away. It is an opportunity to look back, to examine certain feelings, not that you have to necessarily delve all that strongly, but the idea is to pay attention to certain things that occur within you that you have been taught to ignore in your upbringing. And that these things do carry information that is vital to you, that is necessary to you. And that when you begin to listen to these subtle codes and cues, you will understand that you have an opportunity and an awareness of exactly what is going on the path you are traveling at any given moment. And there do not have to be negative surprises, although there can always be positive ones. So in your excitement in working with your computer, Allow yourself to remember the direction that your computers on your civilization is headed. You are, many of you, working on what you call programs to promote artificial intelligence. You understand?
Yes.
You find this exciting?
No, I do, but that's not what I do.
I understand. But recognize, even in the form in which you are using it, it is all part and parcel to understanding consciousness itself. And when you create the idea of your so-called artificially intelligent computers, what you will discover is that all you have done is create a mechanical symbol that makes it all right for you to actually carry on a conversation with what you call your higher self. And you are exploring your part of that awareness, and the connections and the programming that you are doing is allowing you in your own way to make the connections between your analytical self and your intuitive self, so that you will, in your estimation, walk and ride a balanced path, and not one so thin and so narrow that you may find yourself from time to time falling off of it and getting scraped up. It is a very wide and stable path. And the more you balance and blend the analysis and the intuition, the wider and more stable it will become. If you walk the razor's edge, you have to expect to get cut. Do not forsake the keenness of your analysis. Do not forsake the keenness of the edge of your perception. But allow yourself, it is simply our suggestion, you do not have to do it because we say so, to soften that edge with intuition when you need to. We understand that for some individuals, intuition does not seem comfortable because, in fact, it is so fuzzy, it is so soft. But when you balance and blend the two, you will have all the awareness you need in a very crystal clear and sharp way, but it will be connected in a very broad pattern, not just limited to one particular focus or direction. You follow me?
Yes.
Does this work for you?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Then our wishes with you. Fly fast and free in an open way, loving all that you encounter, both individuals and circumstances. For you create your reality, and you do so for a reason. Pick yourself up laughing, and you will rebalance and be on your way in no time. Deny the experience, and you will sit there and bleed in a pool of self-pity. This is simply a general, symbolic reflection. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sharing.
Hello, Bashar.
And to you.
Lately I've been feeling interested in gravity.
Gravity!
Yes, and I would like to ask you if it has any relationship with levitation and things like that. Yeah, I'd like to see if you can give me some more information about it.
Well, it can be produced tonally, you understand this?
Yes.
There are certain vibrations. When you match the signature vibration of any particular object, you can then create an isolation field around it with those tonal vibrations and alter the gravitational dynamic tensor field and create it, in a sense, to slide upward. By tipping the field in a different direction through tonal vibration, by altering the shape of the gravitational field in that way, the electromagnetic field. Anything which levitates, in a sense, it is not just the idea that one gravitational field has let go. In a sense, it is as if it is being drawn into another one in a balanced equilibrium. It is sliding upward towards a new gravity source. Now, certain areas in what you call Tibet are very familiar with the creation of the tonal qualities necessary to levitate many different objects.
I see. Why Tibet?
Simply because the culture in that area upon your planet has not forgotten what many of you used to know.
Okay.
For it is in many ways that some of the ancient structures upon your planet were actually built that way, through the levitation of the massive stones. Simply by sound.
By sound?
Yes, by sound.
Okay.
through the creation of certain low frequencies and high frequencies in harmonic accord. There is literature that exists in your society that can give you some insight into the mathematics of this.
Okay. Low frequencies and high frequencies, you said?
In harmonic accord.
Okay, because that's another thing that keeps coming to my mind. You know, frequencies. I like to play with frequencies and vibrations, but I don't know how to start. So it's
sure you do. What does your imagination say? Now, you may have given yourself a picture and think you don't know how to start because you waved the picture away as not having any validity.
Mm-hmm.
But what pictures did you get? No matter how silly or just symbolic they seem, what pictures did you get? When you think about the idea of frequency and tone, what pictures do you get? Do you see yourself playing musical instruments or something of that like?
No, mainly I see like, I imagine in using this energy to, well, like almost manifesting shapes.
Yes, very
and using it to like awaken my love so much that I can use those shapes to awake some love in people, like the right shape for each person.
How
the
very creative!
The ones that like to, do that with me.
Right.
And I've just been imagining that, and it sounds exciting to me.
Yes.
And
your imagination is real, you know.
Okay.
If you place yourself in an environment that you believe is conducive to allow that imagination to be real, and do not invalidate it or judge it by the belief patterns of others around you, then you can create, with what you may call some practice, the idea of getting used to these harmonic vibrational frequencies, and you can begin to create shapes out of the electromagnetic energy. Many of you are actually beginning to do this in a sense, and this is responsible for some what you call flashes of light in the sky that have no apparent source.
Okay.
Your consciousness collectively is beginning to play around with the manifestation of the electromagnetic field in very concrete ways.
Mm-hmm.
So go and play with this in your imagination. Exercise that mental muscle. Does not mean it is a strain. It is an allowance. It is a vision.
Yes.
Literally.
What I get a lot of times is like a lot of light and like a light energy. And, but I don't know what to do with it.
Play with it for now.
Okay.
You will know how to use it in service. Let your imagination simply remain open for anything that will point into a direction in which you can use it in service.
Okay. The last thing you talk about, there is some information here, like you talk about some books or something? Talks about vibrations and things like that. What do you
Go and look in what you call your books on metaphysics regarding the idea of levitation and gravity.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much, Bashar.
Thank you very much. Happy singing. Sharing.
Bright Star.
Hi.
I have gone with my brother to the desert a couple times now, and we've mined crystals, and most of them have been all clear, very bright and clear. And my brother found a place where all the crystals that he got out were smoky on the bottom, clear in the middle, and cloudy in the tips, and they're all the same. It's like really interesting, and I was wondering if you could tell me anything about them.
In a sense, they are a special type of capacitor that draws from what you call the old negativity on the bottom and the idea of the new balance of positivity on the top, and allows them to blend in the center. And when they do blend in the center, in that sense, you get the clarity that you require in life. You follow me?
Yes.
It is simply a symbol in that sense. When you blend the old and the new, the negative and the positive, the dark and the light, you get clear in the center.
Yeah, they seem pretty transformational to me.
Yeah.
And they also, for some reason, remind me of Indians. I don't know why. All of them together remind me of Indians.
Well, perhaps you can go and ask the Indians.
Okay.
But they do recognize that the world you call your typical universal reality is, in a sense, the clear space in between all that is within and all that is without.
Okay.
You follow me?
Yes.
Does that serve you?
Yes.
They are, in a sense, very powerful fuses.
Okay.
High vibratory frequency, since they are, in that sense, symbolically blended. and represent very powerful ability to act as a trigger for many of you for the purpose of allowing you to feel the alignment of the negative and the positive energies within you, of the polarities. Again, remember, you are that energy, but it can function as a trigger for many of you in that way, allowing for a very strong alignment very quickly in the center.
Oh, quick?
Yeah? Is that disturbing?
No, I love it.
All right.
Would like to ask Cookie, I had a little kitty named Cosma, and she disappeared, and I was wondering if she was still around helping or serving somebody else or off into another dimension.
Our perception, and again, only our perception from our point of view, still has physical life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Shipping!
Hi, Bashar.
Hi.
I have a daughter. She's 2.5 years old. Her name is Dasha, and she has a fascination with triangles.
Yeah.
We go to
Me too.
Me too. I may have helped facilitate some of that for her. But we
sure
go to
you
restaurants, and she finds triangle windows in the ceilings, and she goes around to the patrons in the restaurants and wants them to hold her up to the triangles.
Yeah.
And one of my neighbors, the one with the accident, he gave my daughter and myself a hug in the street one time and told her it was a triangle. Now she goes around asking for triangles all the time. Anyway, I have this feeling that, in a sense, that she's a very old soul and that there's some real strong connection there. And
you have a physicist in the making, but
yes,
a new one. One that understands that the basic template of universal reality that you call physical takes its form from the basic shape, the tetrahedron, the triangular structure, which is the simplest shape in which the principle of activation in your reality can exist. The two polarities and the third idea that gets them both moving. That prevents them from being a stalemate. The triangle, the gateway, the doorway to all interaction, all motion, all manifestation.
And she has remembrance of that now?
Oh, absolutely.
How can I help facilitate her using that?
Oh, thank you very much. I have one suggestion. She receives information through what you may call an imaginary triangular window or door.
Oh.
Ask her simply to tell you what she is getting.
Oh, wow. I ask her, but she's 2.5, and she has difficulty communicating that with me.
Wait until she is ready.
Okay. I can wait.
Not that you cannot ask.
Wow.
But simply the clarity will be there when she is 3.
I just got something.
Yes.
She has this, her father passed in the physical just a few months ago.
Yes.
And both of us have had a lot of communication with him.
Yes.
Although she hasn't been able to communicate that to me, I now recognize
not
that
necessarily in the way you say.
in the way that I expect to hear it,
Yes.
yes. But she always talks about Daddy in the window, which would make sense to your comment.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
Daddy in the window.
Yes.
You too can talk to Daddy in the window.
I have talked to Daddy in the window many times,
Yes.
yes, since he passed.
Thank you for being the triangle you are.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bashar.
Sure.
Greetings. I'm new to this. This is my first visit.
Oh, nonsense.
I need to know more. I've recently become aware of the harmonic convergence, that there will be some special events in August.
In a sense, all this is basically indicative of, first of all, is simply that it represents an overlapping of different frequencies that represent the old way your world was doing things and the new way it is beginning to do things. So in that overlap, it is an opportunity to know that you are balancing the old frequencies with the new, forming an equality, and then proceeding through a gate and a doorway that is represented by that overlap into whatever reality you prefer to be in, to create that reality upon your earth. You follow me?
To that, yes.
All right,
yes.
Continue.
Are there select points then at which this will happen, or there'll be a higher awareness, or?
Anywhere you are will be just fine. Now, there are points, obviously, upon your planet that represent high electromagnetic frequencies and so on and so forth. But the whole idea of the convergence is that each and every one of you are becoming that gate through which you will walk. So wherever you find yourself is the proper place you need to be. Open up and simply live the life that excites you, and you will be your version of that convergence. Because the convergence simply by definition is that gathering together of all the different things you have all segregated yourselves into and becoming one harmonious motion.
That's a wonderful concept. I hope we can do it.
Oh, you are doing it.
I want to do it.
Then that is the reality you will experience, and all those that agree with your version of that reality will experience it with you, plain and simple. You do not have to hope. Hope implies doubt and despair and that you're not sure. If you know that's the reality you are, that's the reality you will get. And you will be surrounded by all other individuals who feel the same. Plain and simple.
Then I can expect to look to that myself.
Oh, absolutely.
I have a friend who's going to Egypt.
All right.
During that time and wants to be a part of a ceremony in the Great Tomb.
All right.
In the Great Pyramid.
Tell them to have fun. They are recapturing something they did a long time ago.
That's what she expects to do. She's hoping to find records, the ancient, supposedly lost records.
This may be highly probable, but first of all, anything that is, in that sense, lost information will first come in an energy sense. Then there might be a physiological symbol to represent it. But first, the remembrance will be within the consciousness of that person.
They're looking for that type of thing. Do you think it's possible that could happen to them at that time?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I've done nothing. Enjoy. Shirley.
Hi.
Hi.
About a year and a half ago, I mysteriously lost contact with somebody who was very dear to me.
Oh, mysterious.
And in the past month or the past 2 months.
Have you been thinking?
Very often, yes. And I hadn't thought about this person for quite a long time, and then like the past 2 months, I've constantly been thinking of this person, and it bothers me.
Bothers you?
Yeah.
Don't you like this person?
Well, I do, but...
Well, why does it bother you?
Well, I don't understand why.
Well, what does that person mean to you? What does that person represent to you?
I'm not sure. I
You're
don't
not?
know.
Well, let's find out right now.
Oh, yay.
What do you feel when you are with that person?
A lot of love.
A lot of love, all right. A lot of fun?
Yes.
Yes, all right. Anything in particular you have learned about yourself by being in interactions with that individual?
I can't say. It's because the whole... No, I can't. Because... The whole experience is so cloudy. It's so confusing to me right now that I cannot specify exactly how I feel about the entire situation.
Well, how do you feel about the person?
All I can say, I have a lot of mixed feelings, but all I can say is I feel a lot of love for that person.
All right. Let's say if that person were to wind up on your doorstep, within the next 3 days, what would you do? How would you feel if you actually saw them physically? What kind of changes would that represent in your life, if any?
I'd be very happy.
Why?
Because I care about this person, and I have no idea where he is in the entire world.
Well, obviously you do. Because you are having a conversation with them. And that is what you are feeling. So obviously you do know that they exist, and you do know that you are very strongly connected, and that you are forming a link. Well, a stronger link. You have always had a link.
I don't understand.
I know. We are taking it a step at a time. We are moving very slowly. Because you are on the verge, on the threshold of making a particular realization, and we cannot in that sense push you too fast, nor interfere. May I ask you a question?
Sure.
Thank you. What do you think about the whole idea of all the changes that are taking place upon your planet?
What do I think about
Yes. What is your opinion about all the ideas you have heard about your world desiring peace and perhaps recognizing that there are energies now where individuals are exploring different levels of consciousness so that they can be in touch with their reality and create it to be the way they want it to be? What do you think about all this stuff? Yes, stop.
I feel that we're a long way off from it, but we are a long way off.
How long?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Take a guess. 100 years? 200? 300?
100 years.
100 years. Does that feel about right? 50?
50 feels better.
50! All right. Is that really so very long?
No, it's not.
No, it's not, is it?
But never
what?
mind, strike that butt.
Turn around. Where's the yardstick I had earlier? Yes, you were going to say. 50 years, not so very long, and?
I don't know. I have a hard time measuring it in time.
Well, you don't have to.
Well, good. I don't want to then.
What do you imagine is this idea that you feel is highly possible to occur within the span of the next 50 years? What do you envision the idea of your planet being like at that point?
Actually, to be completely honest, I have a hard time believing that we will ever reach that.
Thank you very much. Yes.
I do know.
Yes. You know, one of the reasons that you may believe the way you do is because you have a very, 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 very strong habit of believing that you don't know what's going on. You do know what's going on. You are simply not willing to admit that it could possibly be true. Now, do you want it to be true? This vision you have of your world?
No.
You don't want peace and harmony?
Oh, I thought you meant, never mind. Yes, I do.
Thank you. Why do you want it to be true?
Because I want peace and harmony. I don't...
Why? What can you do with peace and harmony that you cannot do now? Don't say I don't know. This is not a test. Just give your answer.
I don't know I honestly do not know what to say.
I am refusing to believe that is an honest statement. Now, if you notice that there is a difference between the way your world is now and the way you say you would like it to be, then obviously you must think that there is something different about that world that will allow you to do something differently than you can do now. Name even one thing you believe will be more possible to do in a world of peace and harmony than you are capable of doing in the world in which you live now. Just one thing.
Travel.
Travel. Where?
Anywhere in the entire world I'd want to go.
You like to travel, do you?
Yes.
How much?
A lot.
A lot. All right. All right. Very good. Now we are getting back on track. For recognize that the connection you are now beginning to reform between you and your friend is going to bring about some opportunities for travel. And is going to loosen up the boundaries you are believing in. Because no matter what is going on in your world today, as you call it, that does not mean that it has to be a preventative to go wherever you wish to go. And you are now forming lines of communication with individuals that are going to be able to bring about circumstances in your life to give you some of the freedom you say you want, but haven't been believing is possible in your world. And as you gain more experience with the idea that there are lines of communication everywhere you believe them to be, and that you will find them no matter what is going on all around you, you will begin to slide towards where those communications are coming from and make the links and form the relationships and the scenarios with all the individuals upon your planet that will then be representative of the type of world you right now say you don't believe is possible. But first you must listen to the messages you are getting and allow yourself to move in whatever directions they seem to move you, even if it makes no analytical sense. Now, let's continue to explore your imagination for a moment. When you think about the idea of this friend that you have mentioned, is there any particular place when you think about this connection that you are drawn to more than where you already are?
No particular place. However, sometimes I will be somewhere and I'll, not necessarily anywhere we had been together or anything, but sometimes I'll be somewhere and he'll just pop into my mind and I'll wonder if I'll possibly run into him or something like that.
All right. Can you describe the place where that seems to occur?
No, I can't. It doesn't, right now, it does not seem to be any particular place.
One more time. There is a particular place. Give it one more shot. No matter where you are, it pops up, as you say, now and then. There is always one particular place it pops up. Where is that place? Do you want a hint?
Yes, I'd like a hint, please.
Thank you. Repeat after me, if you will. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Me.
Me.
I
am
that place.
That place.
Within me.
Within me.
Are all connections.
Are all connections.
To all people.
To all people.
Everywhere.
Everywhere.
Every when.
Every when.
The willingness.
The willingness.
And openness.
And openness.
Of my friend.
Of my friend.
Shows me that I too am connected in ways I am not willing to believe.
Shows me that I too am connected in ways I am not willing to believe.
That is the primary reason for the communication. That friend may begin to pop up, but not in a way you expect. All we suggest, since you are in the middle of a process we cannot interfere with, is that you begin to realize that you are all the world, and that you can be anywhere, anytime within it, because it is within you. All communications are within you. Nothing is beyond you, nothing is outside of you, nothing is lost. You have lost touch with nothing. It is all within you, literally. And that all travel in space and time is travel within. Go within and be willing to know that you know what moves you and what excites you can be done by you now, and that you can attract the circumstances to allow it to be possible now, regardless of the way your analytical mind thinks the world is. You are the place. You are the world, you yourself. Be the world you want to be, and you will see that world reflected externally, and all connections will not be remote. They will be right there, right on your doorstep. You have a saying, the world on your doorstep. It is. It literally is. You can walk through life believing it or not believing it. But I guarantee you, when you start allowing yourself to know that you do in fact know what you need to know, and start moving on that instinct, then you will have the reality that is representative of that instinct, of that knowingness. Allow yourself, if you are willing, to change the habit you are in of saying you don't know, because you do know. That does not mean you have to have analytical understanding. It simply means that you know what you need to know and can act on it, can move on it according to whatever circumstances are attracted into your life. And that if you do so, whether they seem to be connected or not to what's going on, they will take you where you need to go, even though they don't look connected. And that you can be far more mobile than you think. Is any of this making some sense?
Yes, it does make a lot of sense. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And. One moment. One suggestion, again, which you can allow your imagination to alter in any way, shape, or form if so desired, when you are going to sleep this night of your time, as you are laying out on your bed, if you sleep on a bed, allow yourself to think of yourself as a compass needle. And while you are asleep, allow yourself to spin and turn in whatever way it wishes to. And allow yourself to know that during the night, when you are in communication with the totality of your awareness, you will create the magnetic flow in your life that will allow you, the needle, to align, and that when you wake up in the morning, you will automatically, whether you have analytical awareness of it or not, be pointed in the correct direction. And that every step you take will take you where you need to be. You follow me?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Sharing.
Hi.
Hi.
The last time I was here, you told me that my brother was reincarnated 8 years ago, and you weren't very specific with me as if I were to meet him in this lifetime.
Purposely so.
So that's my question. Are you?
I am not going to be specific this time either.
Oh, okay.
Because right now, that is not something that is in your basic energy motivation necessary. You are always connected in whatever way you need to be. You always communicate many times in dream reality. You do not need to be aware of the physical presence of this person, because for now the things that person is learning as the new person they are does not have the time or the room to make the connection in that way with the other life they have had.
See.
You follow me?
Yes, I do.
Simply give them space. That is all.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. Send your love.
I will.
It will always be felt, and it will be used in whatever way that individual needs to use it.
Hi, Bashar.
And to you.
I was wondering if you could speak a little bit on soulmates for me.
Only briefly.
Okay.
The idea simply, once again, can be looked at as a recognition of the reflection that you may have agreed to encounter in your life, a mirror that shines back to you the radiance you are willing to be. Many times we have said that individuals will be searching for soulmates, believing that they must find them before they will allow their lives to be happy. But the idea is that if you are happy, if you know you are complete in that sense, you will then attract all the individuals necessary or individual to represent the agreements you have made to be shown the reflection of when you are your God self, your goddess self, when you are your balanced being self. That is what the basic idea of a soulmate is to reflect back to you the knowingness of yourself. And individuals many times who do not believe that they are, in that sense, self-empowered, will usually continue to attract individuals who will reflect their lack of belief in their own self-empowerment. Everyone you interact with at any given moment, for that moment by definition, must be a soulmate, since everyone you are interacting with, by definition, is showing you what you need to know about yourself to change into what you prefer to be. But the idealized concept of the soulmate is simply the reflection of an agreement to create in your life, perhaps, individual or individuals who will reflect to you when you know you are the creator of your reality. You follow me?
Yes.
Does that answer the question sufficiently for you?
It does. Thank you.
We will thank you and all of you for, in this interaction, being my soulmate. And for allowing me, in this interaction, to be yours. For we are. Our unconditional love to you all burn bright as the flame and the spark of light that you are. You do not have to worry that you will burn yourself out. You are unlimited. And only the struggle to maintain the flame is what singes you around the edges. Let it burn. Let it open. Let it burn brightly. And happy birthday. Our unconditional love, exciting dream life and life dream to you all. Good night.